I had Maker's Mark before the podcast, back to back.
You got to lubricate.
That's right.
This podcast may contain language that is not okay for all audiences.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
It is Car Con Carne, the world's only food podcast recorded in a car. This week, we're talking about a benefit show happening at Liars Club, and who better to talk about Liars Club than Herb Rosen, the proprietor, the owner, the man,
Here I am.
the debauchery sensei of Chicago. Also in the backseat, Kelly Galassi. You are a bartender, and you are someone who spearheaded a benefit happening at Liars Club for Flint, bringing them water. Let's get that right. Let's talk about that right out of the gate.
All right.
What's happening?
So we decided, a bunch of bartenders and I got together and decided we wanted to do a water drive for Flint. So we're starting at Liars. We're going to take the Reggie's bus up to Crown, which is the other place that I work, to see a rock and roll show. And then we're going to go back to Liars.
Wait. What kind of rock and roll show?
He stops there.
There's a lot of rock and roll happening in Chicago.
Little Tits and High Priest.
Little Tits.
Hardcore lady
That's
punk.
worth name checking.
If you like rock and roll and you like tits, you're going to love Little
right.
Tits. Mm-hmm. Wait, is it L-A'-L?
Lil.
That makes
Lil.
it better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like Lil Lulu. All right, so you got live
World's
rock.
only pedophile car podcast. Sorry. Prank call.
So, all right. So you got the rock and roll. You got the Reggie's Party Bus. What happens? People go to Liars. They bring water, and then
They can bring water, or they can just bring money, and we will buy the water, and we're going to haul it to Flint the next day.
Hey, where are you going to buy? Are you going to go like Sam's Club or Costco for this?
Probably Costco.
Well, try not to buy...
Nestle.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Don't buy... And a lot of them, even though they aren't Nestle, like Ice Mountain, a bunch of those are all owned by Nestle, so try not to...
Wait, why is that?
Because they're ruining the groundwater like all over the United States.
Okay.
And like a lot of fisheries and all kind of, like they're the evil empire kind of.
But
Without
also,
getting
I think
all
aren't
PC,
they
but
pumping water out of the Great Lakes that could be going...
probably
for
free.
free.
They're doing everything. Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at like Dasani and some of the ones that are owned by Coke and Pepsi, like I was in Denver a year or so ago, and it says source, because legally you have to write the source.
Yeah,
on
of
it.
course.
Source, Denver Public Water Supply.
Oh, amazing.
They are using the water, filtering it, and putting it in bottles and selling it back to us.
That's amazing. Barnum was right. All right, so
Yeah, no doubt.
So people can bring water, they can bring money, and you will buy water, and then you are hitting the road. How long is it from Chicago to Flint?
4 hours.
All right, it's a solid 4.
Yeah.
It's no treat.
So I'm sure, and we've got to get there by 4. The drop-off point, we've got to drop the water off by 4. So I think it's going to be a pretty hungover trip.
Well, I'd imagine if it's starting at Liars Club.
Yeah.
That's a pretty shitty drive.
I usually need a day
I've
or
done that
two.
drive from Detroit to Chicago way too many times hungover.
It's a pretty shitty ride on my couch usually after I hang out at Liars Club.
Yeah.
There's like a 2-day recovery process. So
I've got to ask, what moved you to the point where you said, I got to do something? I mean, obviously, we've all seen the news and how horrible it is, and oh my God, what a disaster that's been. But what is it that made you take one step further that most of us wouldn't think to take to spearhead this?
So I started working for her once a month for 3 hours on a Sunday.
We should all be so lucky to work for her.
Agreed. I had to tell him, I drunkenly told him probably about 75 times that he should let me do that.
Right.
I didn't ever think he was going to say yes, and then he did.
Finally, I drunkenly agreed. Not that it's a bad decision.
So I decided that because it's an extra shift for me, that maybe I would just, whatever I make that day, I would donate to some sort of charity. And the next one was coming up, and Flint was all over the news, and it just made sense. And we all feel kind of powerless, I think, right now, just currently. Everybody's feeling really anxious about the state of everything. And as a bartender, as a person in the bar industry, I think a lot of us struggle with what are you doing for the greater good?
Right.
You're just contributing to people's
Absolutely.
vices. We're mostly nice people. We just don't feel like we contribute to the greater good ever. So this is kind of giving all of us a chance to do that.
Well, Herb,
That's
back
an
in the day,
excellent point, yeah.
I mean, as far as rock and roll goes, I mean, the beer nuts were kind of like the U2 of Chicago as far as social causes.
Oh yeah, definitely still are. We're actually we had to reschedule rehearsal because we have our St. Patty's Day show coming up, our annual, which is about the only time we play every year anymore, and I rescheduled it for tomorrow.
Oh, you are a mensch.
I tell you. Absolutely.
Thanks, Herb.
So tell me again, the benefit starts when? If you're listening to this, this podcast will be live long after the benefit, but if you're listening to this, it's February 28th.
Yeah, Sunday, February 28th. And what's
Starts
the
at
time frame?
6 o'clock.
Great.
So from 6 to 9, and there's a bunch of DJs volunteered, so it's going to be, the party's going all night at Liars. 6 to 9, you can drop off water or money, and we will take it for you. We'll do the work. The Reggie's bus is coming at 9:30.
How are you guys getting there? Are you just convoying with cars?
Yeah, we're just gonna
Cool.
caravan. Some people have trucks. I got a hatchback. We're gonna
Nice.
go. And there's trailer hitches too. So 9:30 we're going to Crown to see the band, and then the bus is coming
Again,
back to pick
Lil
us up.
Tits.
Yeah, Lil Tits. Check them out. And you can RSVP. We're up on 312. So you can RSVP. I think there's 10 to 15 spots left on the bus.
Is it really that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I need to do that.
You better get on that.
Nice. All right. So
Here's my RSVP.
all right. So
Herb Rosen.
that out of the way, and great job, guys. I think that's super cool. Here's the part of the show that will live longer. This is the evergreen content part of the show. We're here at Dante's Pizza on Milwaukee Avenue.
Yes.
I've read a lot of stuff about Dante's. I've never been. Their pizzas look amazing. Just the stuff they put on the pizzas, the smell of that place is fantastic.
Good stuff.
All right, and you recommended this place,
I
right?
do. Well, I mean, I work right next door, so there's a lot of Dante's in my
So you've
life.
had it once.
Once or twice. The owner is a great guy. Just played at Liars
Isn't it- yeah,
recently.
isn't it the Canadian Rifle
Yeah,
dude?
Canadian.
Yeah, that guy is
Tim
cool.
Murphy of Canadian Rifle.
Tim? Right?
Yeah,
What did you say his last name's Murphy?
Murphy.
My best friend in grade school was named Tim Murphy. And I got a lot of stories that I probably shouldn't tell, but I doubt he listens to the podcast.
You don't know. It's gathering momentum.
It's true. It's true.
We're picking up steam here. How dare you?
If you
I
asked you
bet
if
Tim
you
Murphy
get,
is all over this.
Well, Tim Murphy Sr., his dad weighed about 400 pounds, literally. And he used to come home from work, and we'd be palliative, and he would take a crap. He would take a crap with the door open on the toilet, and all of his ass fat would hang over the edges of it. And I never knew. He always made a joke of it, but I realized later I think it's because he couldn't get the door shut.
Oh.
But
That's
he
a
was
horrible story, Herb.
He was a good sport about it and made a joke out of it. He was also our little league coach. Anyway, call back tomorrow for more Murphy shenanigans.
This is the worst podcast I've ever done. All right, let's eat some of Dante's.
Yeah.
And you guys have the mics clamped to the door. I'm holding my mic, so this is truly going to be a feat of
Can I
coordination.
help you?
Yes.
Isn't there
Okay,
another
yeah.
location?
Want me to
in
open?
Dante's, too? I'm gonna take my coat
I got
off.
it.
Okay, good luck
I'm in
with
the
it.
service industry, so it's pro.
All right, so I got a sausage. Herb, you're a pepperoni. And Kelly, you are cheese.
Kelly, are you a veggie?
No.
Good.
Sausage.
Because I like you.
I was vegetarian for many years.
I had an ex-girlfriend of mine had been a vegetarian for 11 years, and I bullied her. I bullied her about it so badly, I think that she ended up lasting about 7 months. And then finally gave in.
Nice.
Well, because we'd go to dinner, it was like she'd get the 1 or 2 vegetarian options, and then I would be sitting there with the entire menu by myself.
Oh, these slices are huge.
Nice.
It's
Those
like
are
New
massive.
York style.
I
Yeah.
got crushed red pepper and Parmesan here.
Honestly, it's too much work for me.
Yeah.
It's hard to eat in the car and hold a microphone, and
You got to fold.
Well, you got to do.
You got to do the New York
You
fold.
do New York fold. And
I have no
absolutely.
problem with New York style pizza.
I love New York style pizza. It's 2 different things. That's why that whole nonsense.
Agreed.
Of blah blah. And the New York people like to harp. It's not pizza. It's pizza food. Whatever. It's just 2 totally different things. And I love New York pizza.
The option of getting a slice really late at night.
Oh,
in New
yeah.
York.
Well, everywhere. And a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best. This is damn good.
Yeah.
Good call. And super cheap.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Slices are like $3 or $4.
that isn't bad.
And they have a special
place-
slice every day.
Yes.
What was that place that was there for a minute where the new small Cheval is over there? That I forget what it's called, but after it was said and done, like it was like every extra ingredient was $8, and I seriously went there drunk one night, and my slice of pizza was $12 for
reasonable.
one slice, and I got like 3 items on it. It wasn't even didn't have foie gras on it.
Oh, this is fantastic, guys.
But Tim will be happy.
Tim Murphy,
Hey, Tim.
childhood friend.
Hey, Tim.
Welcome, dude. I'm trying not to chew into the mic. I know that much.
I'm trying to chew into the mic.
Let go of that concern. That's just,
Yeah.
that's just can't be helped.
Okay.
We're doing a food podcast in a car. Mm-hmm. All right, so Herb, as you're eating, I'm going to ask you a reference to your music history. Mm-hmm. Around the turn of the 90s, Rights of the Accused was on fire.
Yeah. We did all right for a minute.
And I mean, you were right there at the precipice of what became the quote unquote Chicago scene of legend. Mm-hmm. What do you remember from those days, starting out?
Are we talking the 90s and all that stuff? Or are we talking the old hardcore days? I mean,
Well, you were right there in the transition, really.
Yeah. I joined in the transition. Well, I was around for a lot. But that what do I remember about it? Not a whole lot. And I realized that more and more. Michael Collin and I get in arguments all the time about what happened, what way. And he claims he was a little more sober than me back then, and I don't know if that's necessarily true. But what do I remember? A whole lot of fun. And actually a lot of really good bands, like actually good bands. And then there was the whole signing frenzy when everyone got their major label deals, and that kind of, because we ended up breaking up, I think, in like 92, somewhere around there, and then that kind of happened where everyone got their big deals, but then the majority of those bands got fucked by the major labels, like as will happen, and then that kind of, and then we opened, it kind of went from Rights Accused broke up, that whole thing, like our whole crew, everyone got those deals, and then Liars Club opened in 95, and that was kind of a hub of those people.
Well, you basically built the Hall of Justice for the Chicago Music Super Pros.
Right, there you go. I like that a lot. Actually, I ran into Blake Smith recently from Fig Dish, and he was it was when Fig Dish did their little reunion thing for one of the local H 25th anniversary shows, and he introduced me to his father, who I'd never met before, and he's like, and Blake told me about how he's like, oh, that's the guy. He's like, that was important. That was a place for all of you. Blah blah blah. And I never really thought of it like that. I was like, oh, thanks, I guess.
Well,
all we were doing was partying, but it was fun.
So was that it? Was taking a Liars Club just a way for you to kind of institutionalize what you were doing in the 90s?
A little bit, yeah. We had broken up. Rights Accused had broken up, and I'd always bartended anyway when we weren't on the road or whatever, and gone to school and blah 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 blah. And then I was like, well, I know that I can fill a room, and not a whole lot else, but I'm a fairly sharp guy. But so we opened up in 95. It was just kind of I was living with my original partner in a coach house, and our landlord there owned the building that Liars Club was in, and it had been sitting vacant. It had been a bar like maybe a year and a half, 2 years before, and it had been sitting vacant, and we're like, well, let's give it a whirl.
You were a pioneer because there was nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Yeah, nothing there. And I remember there was this dude, PJ, the motherfucking DJ. And PJ's like, you ain't gonna do shit up there if I fucking climb on, blah, 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 blah. And now every time I run into him, which isn't all that often anymore, but after like 10 years or so, I was like, see what I told you, motherfucker. But PJ, the DJ, also told me, and I believed it, the house song Percolator, it's time for the percolator.
The Cashmere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so he told me that there was a dirty rap version of that called toilet paper, and it was it's time for the toilet paper. It's time for the toilet paper. I'm gonna fuck you in the ass. It's time for the toilet paper. And I believed him, and he told me fairly recently he lied. There's a little aside for you.
Good talk, Herb.
Thanks for the babbling nonsense.
So, I mean, how long did it take for Liars Club to, I don't want to say turn a profit, but make you think, okay, I made a good call?
We turned a lot bigger profit back then than we do now, I'll tell you that. No, we were really lucky. I mean, we literally, I borrowed a little bit of money from my grandpa, and when I say a little bit, I mean like $5,000. And my partner brought a little bit of money. We got a couple investors that were old customers of ours, and we did everything ourselves. And literally, people talk about buying a liquor license. There was no liquor license. We got the pink book from the city, and we went down there and stood in line every day. And they said, nope, you did this wrong, so now you got to go stand back in that line again. And so that took months and months, and then we finally got wise and paid an attorney to help us out a little bit. And then finally got I think it took 8 months to get the license. And we finally got it, and we were really lucky from the get-go. I mean, we didn't have money. I know this sounds like one of those made-up stories, but we didn't even think we didn't have money for the register banks for opening night. We were still hanging lights and whatever, and we did not have money to start the register that night, and had to go borrow $500
That's
to
amazing.
do that. And then we got really lucky from the get-go. There was a big opening thing, and then it really just bam, 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 and snowballed, and and it was nuts for 6-7 years, and pretty good for a few more, and then even keeled now.
So let's get some more people there.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on down. 1665 West Fullerton, Chicago, Illinois.
All right, so let's go into the beer nuts history.
Sure. That's what I really have to struggle to remember.
It's interesting. I just finished the Keith Richards autobiography.
Right, which I've skimmed.
Well, it's huge. It's like 500 pages. You would think he was the most lucid person on planet Earth based on his recollections of moments which he has
doesn't
no
remember. Well, that goes back to my favorite Keith Richards thing when he's like, the only reason I am alive is because I was making so much money for everyone around me that it was in their best interest to keep me alive. He said that many times. And the same thing, I'm sure when he wrote that book, he had a lot of people doing some recollecting for him.
Oh yeah.
I'm
like, maybe he was journaling.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the beer nuts history. When did I join? Shortly after Rights Accused broke up, and they had already been playing. And the original bass player, Dan Field, ended up managed Soundgarden for about. He ended up being a bigwig.
I remember Dan Field.
Yeah, you remember Dan. Yeah, he a big music manager and still does it. I think he might work for Katzis and Jeff Quantnitz and them, or he did for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, music biz people. And I was just like, oh, that's my favorite band. And he was leaving, and I was in. That was that. Not that exciting.
Yeah, it's a fun band.
Yeah.
All right, then we'll go back to Liars Club.
No.
The ghost thing. I think the idea of ghosts and hauntings is silly.
Yeah.
But your place is said to be haunted.
I think it's kind of silly, too. And I really, really want it to be true. And I really want something to happen to me that scares me or does something, makes me feel something.
Right. I just want to feel something.
Right, exactly. And I'm not a cutter,
Yeah.
so I'm waiting on the ghost.
You are dead inside.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. But,
that brought Kelly alive, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Kelly's back.
That ghost thing, I mean, there are people that aren't complete flakes that I trust that have had some stuff happen to them that I take with as much of a grain of salt as I can. But I have to believe there's something. But yeah, my only experience that I can't pass off is a hangover or out of my mind. Mm-hmm. Period. I was in the office one time. I tell this story on one of those stupid ghost shows. And they changed when they flashed off because they wanted everything to sound like it was upstairs. So when I told this story, they go off camera and they edited me saying downstairs or me saying upstairs instead of downstairs.
Get out.
Yeah, all those shows are complete lies. But you also sign something that says we can say whatever we want.
Yeah.
So whatever. So anyway, I was in the office, like it was probably 3 in the afternoon, doing some paperwork, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I turned completely cold, then a cold sweat, and got so scared that I just ran up the stairs and ran out the fucking building and did not come back. Like something was, yeah. Like, and that was kind of a real thing, and that doesn't, I'm not like panic attacky or anything like that. Like it was something fucked up. I couldn't tell you what, but that's probably the closest thing that I've had. A lot of people have been grabbed, a lot of people have seen her, blah, blah, blah. But the most documented and legitimate murder was 1986. And the guy who owned the bar killed his wife with an axe on the 3rd floor bedroom, which is now Gary's bedroom, ladies. There's been some other ghosts in there too. But anyway, and he bashed her skull in with an axe on a Friday, and did blow.
TGIF, bro.
Yeah, there you go.
TGIF.
Did blow until Tuesday, and finally called the cops on themselves, and they came in. And the beat cop, when we opened Liars, it was the same beat cop still on the beat. He told us the story in person. And so there is that. And the guys who lived on the 3rd floor when we took over the space in like late '94, they talked about the ghost like it was their roommate. Like totally normal, but they had also, that's from before, they also hired some, psychic or whatever to expel the spirit.
Well, sure.
And blah, blah, blah. And these guys were pretty whacked. But, there's that. And then there was, the other documented one was in the 60s, and it was a flop house on the 2nd floor, and 2 dudes got in a fight, supposedly over clothing or a pair of pants, as they say in the show. And one guy bottled the other guy and pushed him out the window, and he died. And that was also true, but so those 2 stories got combined, the axe murder and that one. And so the story on the street was that he hacked up his wife and was throwing her pieces out the window, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's almost a better story. Yeah.
That's always. Why mess up a good story with the facts?
Kelly, do you believe in ghosts?
I do.
What do you got?
What's that? I wish. I don't really have much. I mean, nothing's ever happened to me. I wish something would.
Right.
I guess it's just that I believe the people that tell me things have happened. You know.
I believe so.
Like Boomer, my husband's house, the house that he grew up in, is
really
haunted. They say, yes. Like.
Without getting too hippie to be, I think I believe somewhat of maybe like impressions of energy and time.
Yeah.
I'll go that far, but as far as full-blown ghosts, I don't know.
I don't know about people, but I know that things happen in my husband's house. Like he got in trouble for playing the drums at 3 a.m, but he heard someone playing the drum. Like he was like, it wasn't me, and there was no one home. Although that house is just built on. I mean, his dad built the house. It's not like anybody was there before.
On top of an ancient burial
ground.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely.
To it.
So in the long life of Liars Club, what are some of the high points? What are the things that stand out to you? Like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened that night. I'm so glad I was there for that. Or we should have all gone to jail.
Well, there's a lot of those. I mean, there's silly high points, like, after hours stuff. When like us, when we were walking in after hours to party, me Wes Kid
from Triple Fast Action,
and Jimmy Madlaw, who played in Veruca Salt and Okuba. Anyway,
wait, that's Tasty Jimmy.
Tasty J, exactly. Yeah. So it was me, Wes, and Tasty, and maybe one other. And so we had just walked in late night. We were to have some more beers. It was probably like 3 or something. And the cops happened to be driving by, and they saw us. So they spun around. So we were all like little girls instead of. I'm really. It's only semi-illegal. It's not like I don't have a right to be in there. Like little girls were cowering in the corner, and they're shining the light in that little.
Oh my God.
That little diamond-shaped window, trying to find us, and we're cowering in the corner. And as we're in the corner, Wes farts, and then we just completely lose it, like bellowing out loud to the point where I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna stand up." And I went and talked to the cops, and it wasn't that big of a deal, and we left. But that obviously isn't really a high point.
It's like a high school moment.
Should have gone to jail, exactly. What are some high? We the 10th anniversary party. We had Eagles of Death Metal play, and that was a really, really fun night. And that one spilled into the after hours also. And it was so crowded downstairs that a lot of us, we were hiding upstairs, and And Queens of the Stone Age happened to be in town for a different thing. And even though Josh plays in Eagles of Death Metal, he stayed and hid on the second floor.
That's amazing.
And never even
That's
came
amazing.
downstairs. He's like, I don't know, man. So we just hung up there and whatever. But that's a good one. What are some other... most of the Katie's Kids benefits, which is our annual Christmas benefit that we do for Schwab Children's Rehab Hospital, especially the first ones that Jake Burns, from when we became friends with him, and Jake from Stiff Little Fingers did those first few years. I was as dumb as it sounds, I was like in awe. I was kind of like I can't believe this is really happening. And then that kind of culminated with, we did the thing with Jake a bunch of years, and then it happened to be Jake's wife's 50th birthday right around the time of the benefit. So Stiff Little Fingers actually all flew in, and Stiff Little Fingers played at Liars Club for one of the Christmas benefits. I don't know, that was like 4 or 5 years ago, and that was pretty unbelievable. What else? I don't know.
Well, those are good, don't you?
Yeah, a lot of good music, and just like more fun stuff than I can remember. That's for sure.
I got to say, Herb, we've known each other, known of each other for many years. We've never really hung out. No. You have a reputation as a larger-than-life party enabler.
Right, sure.
Yeah, and confirmed.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what
I concur. I concur, Your Honor. Thank you. That's. But I like to think that. Yeah, it comes from somewhere. Sometimes I'm trying a little too hard, but it comes from somewhere real. I really like to have a good time, and I like to spread that to the people. And
like you mentioned, you do charitable stuff.
Right. Well, I think that was a great point that Kelly made before. We're in this business that is full of a lot of cool, funny, creative, great people that don't necessarily, but every once in a while, you kind of reflect and are like, what are we doing here? And when we started that Katie's Kids thing, the way that started, Katie used to work at Liars Club, and she also worked at Schwab Children's Rehab. And she came in, after working there all day, she came in for a shift on a Friday, and just sat down at the bar and started bawling. And was like, and we're like, what's it? She's like, these kids don't even have like hats and gloves. They have nothing. And Michael O'Connell was kind of like, well, we can get hats and gloves, blah, blah. And it started like that grassroots, like that small, where we were just going to get them stuff they needed. And then we did the toy drive so they could have a Christmas party every year. But then it got, we got monetary donations. And then basically we changed that entire ward. Now it's like, I won't say a palace, but compared to, it was for real, some dirty stuffed animals at a VCR.
Yeah.
11 years ago. This year was the 11th year we did it. And now, it's nice. And
I love that.
It's pretty cool.
That's a great story.
Really cool, and we're kind of responsible for a lot of that.
Good for you.
Ringing our own bell.
And to bring it back to charity, if you're hearing this before the 28th, go to Liars Club on the 28th. Bring some water, bring some money to get water, all for the people of Flint who really just... They've never had a
drink
good...
the water, buy the drinks.
Yeah. People in Flint have just... Life has sucked in Flint for...
a really long time.
Yeah, so it's cool that you guys are doing this.
I've been to Flint.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen the movie.
Yeah. Michael Moore needs to drink a little of that water, though. Oh. As much as I'm on his side, he really, really grates my nerve. But one thing I think is worth pointing out, too, without getting all patriot, but, all this stuff happens all over the world, and we're parachuting stuff in and dropping blah, blah, blah. And then, we have New Orleans, we have Flint, we have this stuff, and it's kind of like, and that's what's so cool about what Kelly is doing, is, it's right here. We can drive it and do something, and I think that's great.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And Kelly, nice job.
Oh,
seriously.
Thanks so much for having us.
Hey, you have fun sitting in the back seat? Is it okay?
Any room where Herb is a good time. If you don't know that, you should go to Liars Club every once in a while.
There you go.
There is so much raw charisma sitting shotgun in this car right now. It's staggering. Herb, thanks for hanging out.
Man, absolutely. And thanks for the pizza. I was hungry.
We can go back and do this. Mm-hmm. All right, so if you like what you heard, if you want to hear more, if you tolerated what you heard, if you think someone you know might like it, share. CarConCarne.com is the website. We're also on Twitter @Car Con Carne. Thanks for listening.
Awesome.